This is a quick video to move us one step on from controlling our Simocode device with our S7 PLC, which was shown in a previous video, to now getting extra data from our Simocode back into our PLC using one of our standard libraries, which the link for is in the description below. What we've already got our PLC and our Simocode communicating, and we've also got in our program blocks our main Simocode control block to control the start, stop, local, remote, reset, etc. functions of our Simocode device. So we're going to build on that now to get more data back from our Simocode into our PLC using the standard library function block. In the right hand side here then, I've downloaded the library already. The library is LSDR version 17 for TIA version 17. So I'm going to open up the library, and the first thing we do is open up the data type, and under types we have our LSDR read record data block. We drag and drop our function block from the library and drop it into our PLC blocks. What this does will bring in our function block, but it'll also bring in our data types for us as well. So under here, under PLC data types, you'll see that we've now got most of the data types from our our library. The two data types that we haven't got that we need to pull back manually is LSDR type control and type data records. So them two we can drag and drop again from the library into our PLC data types, and we can now see we've got our control and data records data types brought in from the library. What we can do then is we can go to our main PLC application code, and we can drag and drop our new acyclic read data block function block from our program blocks into our main OB, and this is what the block looks like. So if I just walk you through the pins on the block, we've got request. So every time that this request goes to a positive, this block will go and read a data record from the Simocode and bring it back and store it into a location that we specify. There's three types of data that we can get from the Simocode. We can get 0 is our diagnostics, as you can see from the tooltip here. So we can get diagnostic data from our Simocode. For example, we can see when our Simocode last tripped. Have we got communication to the PLC and this type of information? If we change this to type 1, we can then get measurement data. So what was our running current, our power factor, our maximum current, so on and so forth. And then the second, or type 2, we've got statistic data. So how long has the device been operating for? How many hours run? How many times have we tripped over the lifetime of the product, so on and so forth. So 3 different types of data: diagnostic, measurement, or statistics. And if we change from type 0 to type 1 to type 2, we can then read out them 3 different types of data. We've got the hardware ID. The hardware ID is which device are we reading this data from, and then we've got our usual error handling bits here as well. So to start to use this block or to read out our data, what we do is we're going to add a new data block. We're going to call it Simocode data control, and instead of it being a global data type, we're going to select the data type control for the LSDR, so the library data type control, and this looks like this. And as you can see, the bits here look very similar to the bits on our block. So what we're going to do is tag this up. So read request goes on to request, type goes on to type, and done goes on to the done bit, busy onto the busy bit, error, and status, so on and so forth. So we just tag up the block using this data block for data control, and then we add a new data block. So we add a second data block for Simocode data, and this is where we're actually going to put the data from the Simocode. And again, instead of selecting as a global data block, we're going to select data type data records. And if we click OK on this, you can see this is what this data block looks like. And it automatically has, if I just change our split screen, it has automatically created a structure for device diagnostics. And so, for example, in the status, we've got fault warning, device OK, bus OK, PLC OK, so on and so forth. So you can see we can get some statistical data already organized for us. So then what do? We take these three different data structures and we drag from device diagnostics onto device diagnostics. We drag from measurements onto device measurements, and we drag from statistics onto drive statistics. And then we can read back these data. The data that's read back will then be stored in this data block area that we've created. So that's the block pretty much tagged up. The only part that's left is the hardware ID, so which Simocode. So if we had multiple Simocodes, we'd need multiple instances of this block. But I've only got one Simocode, so we need to tag up which Simocode this block is going to read the data from. Because we've already got an S7 PLC talking with a Simocode, automatically connected on the network, it has automatically created for us a tag for our data exchange. The tag is the Simocode control device IO tag. We can drag and drop, which is shown all tags, system constants. We can drag and drop from there onto our main OB and drop that into our hardware ID. So straight away, when we're looking at this block, we can see that this block is responsible for pulling the data back from this Simocode device here. That's the block pretty much tagged up and ready to go. So now let's just test that out. Just going to download the block or the changes to the PLC code to the PLC. Just going to download that now. And then we can test our system setup. So if I just put the goggles on here, I'm just going to go back into split screen so we can see that data exchange happening in real time. So for example, if I just open up our device diagnostics for in our data block. So this is the diagnostics in our data block. At the minute, everything is false because we haven't yet read any data from our Simocode. So our control type is 0. If we remember, 0 is for reading back diagnostic data. If I then modify this request bit, so if I put that to true, you can see we got a busy bit, and we've now got data coming back from our Simocode, for example, that says that the device is okay, the bus is okay, and we're being controlled by the PLC. So we're in a good state. This is the way we read back diagnostic data. And then, for example, we might want to see running data. For this, it'd probably be best to run the Simocode. So what I'm going to do is take a remote request, and I'm going to run forward, for example, using the block from the previous video that I did. And now with the device running, we change the type. So if I just modify the type to type 1, which is for measured values, and again, trigger the request pin, you can see now that we're getting data back from our Simocode. So we can see what our maximum current is, what our current per phase is, and so on and so forth. So again, a whole host of data read back acyclically from the Simocode every time that we request it. So if I change the current, for example, on there, I'll change the loading. If I read another request, you can see that our current has now dropped. So again, we can now read back measurement data from the Simocode. And then the third and final piece of data we can read out using this block is the statistical data. So if I just change the type to 2 now, so we're on type 2. If I give another read request, you can see now we've been modified with the number of trips, how many hours we've been operating for, so on and so forth. If I do another read request just to prove that we're actually getting live data, you can see that the number of hours for the motors running has now increased. It's 261. 2,161, sorry, and then if I just give another read request, you can now see it's 2,173 hours that this motor has been running for. So I'm just going to stop the Simocode now, and that's a real simple way to show how easy it is to use the library block to pull back statistical data, diagnostic data, and measured values from our Simocode into our PLC application code for use in your PLC. Thanks for watching.